75歳以上の高齢者に死を選ぶ権利を認め支援する制度、通称プラン75が今日の国会で可決されました。政府に求める国民の声が高まっていました。
Plan 75. As the credits rolled and the theater goers started leaving, I overheard an exchange between the couple that was sitting next to me. A man scolded his girlfriend, who thought this was based on true legislation out of Japan. He said jokingly, "They would never do this. That would be illegal." Seeing someone so lightheartedly brush off the heaviness of this film after watching it disappointed me, and I felt sympathetic for his girlfriend, who was valid in believing this story could be true. I kept myself from inserting my own opinion and validating the girlfriend. At the end of the day, this could happen. Plan 75 is not as far-fetched and dystopian as some viewers might like to believe. It's possible, which makes it all the more impactful. The film opens with a scene more dramatic and horror-esque than anything shown through the rest of the movie. It's a bone-chilling and slow scene that shows the aftermath of a massacre carried out by a young man, killing many elderly people at a care facility in Japan. This was inspired by the true events of a mass stabbing that occurred in Sagamihara in the Kanagawa prefecture of Japan in 2016. 19 people were killed and 26 others were injured at a care facility for disabled people. The director of Plan 75, Chie Hayakawa, has said that the events of 2016 were a trigger for her to write this story, and in her final product, that inspiration is what begins the movie. Throughout the film, we have this looming presence of the young committing violent acts against the old in a society that is increasingly disregarding an aging population. After the opening scene, we are introduced to the premise of the film. In Japan, the government program Plan 75 encourages senior citizens over the age of 75 to be voluntarily euthanized to remedy an aging population. We also meet our three main characters, who throughout the film have to deal with the concept of death in their own ways. First is Michi, played by Chieko Baisho, who is an elderly woman unable to find work and is being forced out of her apartment. Next is Hiromu, played by Hayato Isumura, a pragmatic Plan 75 salesman. And finally, a young Filipino care facility worker named Maria, played by Stephanie Ariane. Thinking back to the man who said this movie could never happen, I feel it's meaningful to point out that there are already assisted suicide laws across the world that help the elderly pass on in comfort and on their own terms. I have nothing against assisted suicide. My home state has something along the same lines called the Death with Dignity Act. But this movie isn't really about assisted suicide. It's not a political statement about helping the dying die. It's about how we disregard and mistreat our elderly. Because there's a key difference between our real-world assisted suicide laws and Plan 75. And that's that the Japanese government portrayed in this film encourages the elderly to participate. They are given incentives and are socially pressured to participate in the program.
孫たちのこと考えたらさ、そういうことが必要かもしれないじゃない。あんたもう死ぬつもり？ゆくゆくはの話。
This is the dystopian element director Hayakawa has added to the situation. The symbolism hidden within the backgrounds and within the cinematography of this film was beautiful and made you feel completely immersed in the story. One scene stood out incredibly vividly to me. Michi was on a bus and the bus went through a tunnel. There were green lights spaced out on the wall of the tunnel, and the camera caught a flash of one, and then the screen went to black. That repeated several times, a flash of light and then dark. It reminded me of a heartbeat on a monitor. It gradually got a bit slower and slower, and finally the bus came out of the tunnel and into an almost overexposed shot of the exit, the light at the end of the tunnel. There were many subtle scenes like this one. One shot showed snowflakes slowly falling and melting onto a car window shield, each snowflake landing so beautifully and perfect, melting away into nothing. Another shot watched over Michi's shoulder as the sun goes down. It looks as if Michi is considering the span of her own life as the light of the sun dies out. While at the Hawaii International Film Festival, I had the honor to see director Chie Hayakawa in person after the film screened. One thing she said that stood out to me was her explanation of why 75 in her title was blurred and fuzzy. Hayakawa said that that was intentional because the age 75 is not set in stone. This could be Plan 65 or Plan 50. This could be about getting rid of the elderly or the disabled. It could be about the LGBTQ+ community or any minority being pushed out of society. This film isn't just portraying the disrespect shown to the elderly, it's about how we value people. How people are disregarded and forgotten within a culture that values productivity above all else. And even though Hayakawa wrote this story for and about Japan, the same points can be made in many countries and within many communities. The United States has to grapple with its societal standards just as Japan does. In the end, this movie makes the audience question who we value and why, and makes people think deeper about how they treat others.
ございますが、どうぞよろしくお願いします。何かご質問があれば。
どうして会ったらいけないのかしら。
情が移って心変わりしないようにっていうことじゃないですか。
The film had such a softness to it, a calm beauty that carried with it a feeling of deep sadness and emptiness. This ended up being my favorite movie I saw at the festival this year. Chie Hayakawa is a director and a writer to watch. Mark my words. Hi all! I hope you enjoyed my short review of Plan 75. I really loved the film. You might have noticed that I formatted my video a little differently this time. My goal was to try to make a video without showing much of my face and mostly just using clips and things I could find on YouTube. I'm basing this type of video off of the Every Frame a Painting YouTube channel and other YouTube channels that are similar where they do movie reviews but they never show their face in the video. Obviously I'm showing my face now, but I'm probably going to return to my other format of videos, which is more me talking, showing clips and stuff on the side. But I hope you had fun watching this video, and I absolutely recommend seeing Plan 75 if you can. It is a wonderful film and a great feature film directorial debut for Chie Hayakawa. And with that, I will end the video here.